people who wanted to go into these jobs to build what appears, let's make it simple, what appears on your screen, whatever your screen is, if it's your phone, if it's your, your laptop, your monitor, whatever. 25 years ago, people who were wanting to go that part, let's be clear, were the ones who were not very skilled, the ones who would have the lowest grades. But that was 25 years ago. When I was a student, the whole HTML specification were 35 pages long. You read one day, couple of days, and you start being a webmaster. Today, HTML specs, 800 pages, more. Then there's CSS, 800 pages, and there's JavaScript. And that's just specifications. And then there's the whole cybersecurity aspect, because the question via the interfaces, injection, blah, 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 all the different technicalities. They've all become a complete. When I was a student, this was the gold standard, which is where I went myself. You're a back-end developer, that's where the logic, the business logic, the computation, the database, the networking happens, and the front. But now it's not the case anymore. And of course, with experience, if you go that part, it means that you can answer all the most of the challenges from here and from there. I don't think I've got enough time, so I'll skip on that one. I'll just say, no, I won't skip. I'll just say a few words. Even if most of the activities are not mathematically driven, building systems, digital systems, is still the same as building a house. You start with planning, you start with analysis and design. What do you want? How are you going to do this? Then you get your blueprints. Then you start building. And this is software. This is writing, programming languages, etc. So you build the house progressively. The house, what we call building, if you take it to your house, you have two aspects. You build the house and you build its networks. You need to build an electric network, a water network, etc. They go together. You build the structure and you build the infrastructure together. And in the digital world, you have all of these different jobs. As you do this, and as progressively your house, your system is being built, you're going to need to check, to test that it's compliant to these specifications. And also its compliance maybe to the law or to the regulations about data privacy, etc. So again, this is a whole area of activities. But of course, the house is never disconnected. A house is connected to a water network. A house is connected to an electric network, to a roads network. That's system integration. It's another category of job as well, where a lot of cybersecurity aspects are involved, because you're basically being connected to the water network, being connected to the electric, to the road network, you're exchanging data. And when you're exchanging data, well, you need to monitor what's going on. Project management is for more senior people to oversee. And at every step of the way, here, and there, you have cybersecurity matters. Why? Let me take a simple example. When you run a website, this presentation I'm showing right now, it runs on a website on awareness.dsti.school. And this running a website, what does that mean? If you compare it to a house, it means like you put a gigantic billboard here, and you say, with an arrow pointing down, and you say, come in, this house is open. The door is open. Because that's what a website is. You give a name, say, come in. The door is open. It's for you to come and look. And if you can look, where you can try and damage, walking around the house, you can try and steal around the house, you're exposed to a security problem. By definition, and more in our connected world, if you are connected, by definition, you are at risk because you have an open door. You accept visitors in the form of humans or in the form of data or code, and you give something out. And then when you give something out, you show a little bit of yourself. And if you show a little bit of yourself, people can retro engineer, who are you? What are your habits? How can I try to break in by knowing you? I won't insist too much on AI, except on, because we're talking about cybersecurity here, except on one thing. The quantity of data that is generated by even a simple website, a few pages, the quantity of data that you acquire by visitors, by people who just go on your page, the analytics, the people, the robots who try to go on your page, are they legitimate or not? This quantity is gigantic. And even on a very small system, it's becoming more and more impossible. But it's actually impossible today to have a human to process this information. So we need more automated systems. I hate, DSTI is a school specialized in AI and cyber. I hate the term AI. AI means nothing because it's not intelligence. Not intelligence in the sense of what we are. AI means intelligence in the English term of the way. Intelligence in English means information gathering. The CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. It's not intelligence like us. It's information gathering and processing. That's what AI is you acquire a lot of data, you try and make some information out of it, and you try and gather knowledge out of it. And if you have a tool or a set of tools that helps you to go quicker in this process, that's great. In cyber, you can classify 3 main activities. You engineer, you design the systems. So you're part of the effort of, oh, I work for Netflix. Netflix serves customers in almost all the countries of the world, almost. How does that work? How do you make the infrastructure, the systems, the network, etc., to serve all these users and all these customers and all the staff, of course, behind that manages everything? That's one side. The second side is, well, we are exposed and people are going to try to come in, people are going to try to break, people are going to try to steal. So I'm in the investigation and possibly the response. Now, let me be clear. The dream of being an attacker is very rare. There are very few jobs in attack. Attack is for government, it's for fraudulent activities. Most of the jobs in this category are in here: detect and investigate, respond, protect. Of course, in order to protect, you need to learn how to attack. But the Hollywood thing about the hacker that attacks system, yeah, okay, that exists, but it's not the main, it's not the most important category of job, at least in terms of numbers. And of course, consequently, there's all the protection, as I was saying. No one is stuck in a job. You can work for a while here. I'd like to build. I'm going there. I like to defend. I'm going here. It's the beauty of these jobs. Amongst the hundreds of different jobs, very few careers offer this possibility. Again, don't get me wrong, being a medical doctor is the greatest job in the world. You save lives. But if you study cardiology, you're going to be a cardiologist all your life. If you study and acquire skills in the digital area, you have hundreds of jobs in front of you. More maths, less maths, more technical, etc. I don't have time for this, but it's typical days of people. I just want to say one thing. Cybersecurity jobs are stressful. Which is why they are well paid. If anything goes wrong, if the system is penetrated, data stolen, etc., it's your fault. And there's no hours for cybersecurity. It's not a 9-to-5 job, or some jobs can be, but it never stops. So compared to the other job in the digital sector, and again, this is why cyber jobs are well paid. Number one, they are reserved to the best computer engineers. You want to do cyber, computer architecture, operating system, networking, low-level software engineering. If you are serious about cyber, you need to know how the machine works in order to protect it. So it's a different day of work than the ones you work in data analytics, etc. This is completely different. I've already said a lot about France. I'm not going to carry on, but just one thing. France is a massively driven export economy. And one of the questions that you might ask yourself is, why studying in France when if I speak Spanish and I want to go to Europe, I could go to Spain? It's easier. But France has got more multinational companies than the United Kingdom or Canada. Canada is a smaller country. But it means that you've been probably in an aircraft in your life. You've probably been in an Airbus. Well, it's made in Toulouse. You've used, I believe, probably L'Oréal products. There's a lot of companies that export in France, and consequently, studying in France doesn't mean necessarily staying in France. It means also the possibility of, there's a lot of French companies in Mexico and Brazil, for example, of saying, well, actually, I'm going to go for a job in a French company because I studied in France, but in a subsidiary in Mexico, because they have a lot of activities there, for example. And, one word on the language. Of course, you guys speak the second or the third most spoken language in the world and the second business language of the world, English and Spanish, which is brilliant. By 2050, when most of you will be my age or older, when you'll be decision maker, French will be spoken more than Spanish because of the rise of Africa demography. And it's not a business language now. It used to be. It's not so much anymore of a business language, but it's going to come back to it. If you can speak English, Spanish, and French, well, you have, on top of digital skills, you have probably a good prospect of employability. Now, let me say a few words about the school rapidly. Again, this presentation is online, and I'll go to the bottom line. We have, as you can see, two physical campuses in Riviera FRANCESA and in Paris. I'm in the south of France right now. We are one school. We don't have online programs and on-campus programs. We built ourselves what is now called hybrids. You can choose wherever you want to study, you want to study in France, you want to study abroad, live stream if time zone compatible, or asynchronous. It's all the same studies, it's all the same programs, it's all the same professors, it's all the same degree. It's just your way that makes the most convenient for you to study. The programs, I mean, we are a very specialized institution in computer science, engineering, for data and cyber, and all the various MSCs that go along with it. And if I go to the brunt of the matter, and I can go back if you have any questions, because I'm sure that's why most of you are here for. We do have a good, I think, scholarship system that you can see right here. There's no quotas, there's no nationalities. It's open to everyone. It's merit-based. It's based on your success, on your grades, on your application. And with Carmen, with our partner, we have a special thing. These are the public scholarship. That's the one you go and you see on the website. But if you go with Carmen's agency, if you are admitted, it's the same criteria. If you are admitted to a DSTI program, you would benefit automatically from a 50% scholarship. Okay? It's not a discount. It's we call this our selective scholarship pathway. Okay? We do this with a few selected partners, and I repeat, it's not an invoice discount. It will be based on your academic merits, but you would automatically qualify for the scholarship if you are admitted. So the tuition fees are there. Let me just go. We have a very simple table of tuition fees. We're not like an American university, a US university, sorry, a Gringo university. You're not, you don't have fees and then graduation and then supplemental. No, the fees you see on the website are the fees. Okay. The on-campus fees, the online live stream, the asynchronous, and then you have the scholarships. Okay. One little thing that's very important, actually. If you want to come and study in France, and I hope you will, the way that studies are organized is maybe a little different from what you might know. Internships are mandatory. They are part of the curriculum. They're credit granting. They are paid if you do them in France. They are paid to a fairly decent amount, 6 months. And there's a good reason. It's the way European in general, and particularly in France, that's the way French companies work. I'm the CEO of the school. When I want to recruit a young graduate or a graduate soon to be, I'll recruit someone who is on their final year of studies, because this is how it works, who's going to do, after the studies, a mandatory internship, 6 months, and if everything goes well, it's usually the typical door to employment. That's how we recruit. So sometimes I hear people saying, "Oh yeah, but in France you have only a 12 months post-residency permit after your studies, and in Germany you have 18 months." It's the same, because in Germany they start counting when your studies finish, the classes. We start counting, for us, graduation is when the internship is done. So it's 6 months after the classes. So it's exactly the same. It's 18 months in France or in Germany. And maybe one last thing. Life, visa, etc. France is a very easy country sorry, let me be clear. France is very administrative for your visa, etc. But if you go with a partner who will make sure to guide you, I have never seen in 16 years I've been in higher education at DSTI and before in public universities. I've never seen a visa rejection from Latin American students. It's very, very rare. And on average, the visa acceptance rate is very high. France is a very easy country to come and study. It's a very easy country also to stay. There's a lot of social protection. And unlike many English-speaking world countries, but you saw that I've studied in the UK and I've lived in the UK for a while, but unlike a lot of these English-speaking world countries, there's no immigration quotas, there's no notion of priority jobs, etc. It's actually against the French constitution, it's unconstitutional. The only thing that counts in France if you want to stay is that you have a job. If you have a job, you stay, so it's progressive. You finish your study, you graduate, then you've got your first residence permit, then the permit is for 4 years, then you can choose maybe if you want to make an effort in the language, you can choose to go to naturalization, and it's 5 years working in France and of course a little about French knowledge, B2 level. I also know people, like a lot, who have stayed in France for decades, because the more you stay and you have a job, the more the work permits extends, the residency permit extends, and then it goes by 10 years period. Some people just say, I'm not interested in the language. I don't want to get the nationality. I like being here. I have a job. It's enough. And it's one of the beauty of this country. It's this kind of flexibility. But English is our working language. We have 2 entries per year, also because we have students from all over the world. In the last 5 years, we've received about 120 different nationalities, something like that. So we have an entry in the Northern Hemisphere autumn, in October, beginning of October, and we have an entry in our spring at the end of March, beginning of April. So admissions are always open, and they go continuously, and you have 2 possibilities per year to come and join DSTI. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Sebastián. Gracias a todos por estar aquí hoy. La presentación de Sebastián ha sido bien amplia. Muchas cosas que él ha hablado realmente vale la pena conocerlas. Y Carmen va a estar a disposición para cualquier pregunta que tengan después, con todas las informaciones sobre el precio, sobre cómo funciona cada programa, sobre cómo pueden hacer para poder continuar con su proyecto de estudios en un país que realmente tiene pues también mucha tecnología, ¿no? Y que ustedes pueden sacar el mayor provecho de todos estos programas para los estudiantes internacionales a un precio que realmente vale la pena pues verlos, ¿no? Entonces, cualquier cosa pueden contactar con Carmen después. Les estaremos compartiendo después también la presentación, si quieren rever alguno de los puntos. Y Sebastián también va a estar a disposición para cualquier pregunta que quieran hacer directamente a él, porque trabajamos en conjunto para poder ayudarlos y poder aclarar cualquier duda que ustedes tengan al respecto del proceso, del curso, del programa. Todo lo que ustedes deseen saber, vamos a estar ahí para apoyarlos. Gracias a todos y que tengan pues una feliz noche. Gracias, Carmen, por poner todo esto junto. Realmente nos encantó que podamos tener esta información y estar con Sebastián. Gracias, Sebastián, por estar con nosotros.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.